Hi, how are you today?
Good, thank you. How are you?
I'm doing good. I'm doing good. So tell me, Carolina, right?
Yes.
What are you most passionate about and why?
In film or just in general?
Film. Well, let's start off with general and then film.
Okay, well, I guess you could say I'm most passionate about my job. Ever since I was little, I've loved stories, reading, movies, TV shows, so naturally that kind of transitioned into my job choice. Within film, I'm most passionate about the production side of things, producing, managing, people, getting all the logistics together.
Absolutely. So, what experiences or events influence you to feel so strongly about it?
Well, as I was going up through film school, I got the chance to produce some commercials for a company called Spark House, whose founder is actually an alumni of the program that I went through. So that was a learning experience. I learned a lot. I learned how to manage, people and how to deal with roadblocks that came up during the course of production. And because I was so young and it was kind of just something I was thrown into, it was definitely like a huge learning experience for me.
Oh yeah, that's definitely a learning experience. So, my question is this: did you have to overcome any obstacles to pursue your passion?
Yeah, being a girl is one is a huge one. Being young and being a girl, a lot of people when I would step on set would kind of for a second, doubt me. I had a couple times when I was freelancing as a camera assistant, and people would be like, "Oh, like you're the person they brought on." People would think that I was dating the person who hired me, or that it was just a friend. So a lot of people I think were kind of skeptical of me. So it's kind of definitely something you had to just put your head down and power through, and just work hard and show that you deserve to be where you are.
Well, I'm gonna let my friend over here take over.
Okay. Nice to meet you, Carolina, by the
Nice to
way.
meet you.
So what is something that you consider yourself to be really good at?
In the production process, or just in
Yes.
general? I think just in general, like work or otherwise, being able to work with people and working in a team. I'm very good at being social and getting to know people, and I think being able to collaborate with other people to get the project done, or to film, to shoot, to figure out the logistics of a project is definitely my strength.
Okay. And then how did you become interested in where you ended up?
Um, when I was in film school, I ended up being the unit production manager on a small project, just covering for a friend on a small student film, and I ended up just loving it, every part of it. I was learning along the way. The producer was like kind of showing me like, well, this is your job and this is what you do, and you would be handling the money and handling the receipts and doing this. And so as he kind of outlined it for me along the way, I began to fall in love with it.
Very nice. So what did it take for you to excel?
Just learning more about, what I wanted, becoming more interested in the subject. Definitely it was kind of like a sink or swim kind of thing, where you just kind of throw yourself into it, and just do your best. You can't be too proud. You have to, know that sometimes you have to just ask a question and be like, hey, I don't really understand this. But I think learning to, what it took for me to excel was just being able to learn along the way.
Carolina, what are you most proud of?
Most proud of, I think how far I've come since the beginning. I was very intimidated and I was very nervous about doing well. My film teacher drilled it into our heads that you have to do a good job, and it's the smallest mistake can cost you your employment. So I had that very strict disciplined work ethic.
So you consider yourself detail oriented, right?
Yes.
Okay. What did you do to achieve it? Was it difficult for you?
Yeah, sometimes it's easy to let things fall between the cracks. For me, I just try to stay organized. I try to keep a list of things that you need to take care of, almost like check them off one by one. Just always keep it in your mind, like what your responsibilities are, plan ahead, have your deadlines set, know what you need to get done by when, to make sure that everything happens.
Were you acknowledged for any of the accomplishments you got?
I'm sorry?
Accomplishments.
Oh,
Were you
was I
acknowledged for it?
acknowledged? Not in like a huge professional setting. I haven't received a ton of awards or accolades, but I have heard. But I get good feedback from the people I work with, which is what I aim for, just to, make a positive impression on the team and help everyone do, better.
Very nice. So what was the most difficult part of growing up or getting through school for you?
Most difficult. In the beginning, I wasn't sure what I wanted to do. I kind of floundered from directing to writing to production design, and so I kind of wasn't really sure what where my path was going to take me, and finally I just almost by chance landed upon production, and I realized I love that and that I like doing camera as well, so it was kind of between those two.
Very nice. So how did you handle all of those challenges?
It was just a lot of like trial and error. It was, I'm going to do this, and it was fun for a while, and then I realized I didn't really love it. I didn't really have a passion for it. And then I tried something else, and that was kind of, hit or miss. And then finally you kind of land on the thing where it's like, whoa, I really love doing that, and I want to do more of it, so you just kind of explore more.
Very nice. So what was the eventual outcome of all that trial and error?
I just found the job I love. I began to pursue different avenues of different paths I could take to get me there, and other kinds of job opportunities that were similar to that one, which was production management.
Okay. Let's see. What was the most difficult part of growing up or getting through school?
I think that's what I just did.
Did he just
Next
do
question.
that one?
Yeah.
Okay, my bad. What are some other obstacles you've overcome?
Other obstacles. I think the biggest obstacle I've had to overcome is just my own self-doubt. There's a lot of times when there are jobs that at the time I could have done, or I could have, I was more than qualified for, that I wasn't sure of myself, and so I didn't kind of push myself to get out there and go for it. It was until a little later, when I'd been working in film a little longer, that I kind of felt that confidence to say, hey, I know I can do it, or just to push myself to learn a new job almost on the spot.
Okay, what created the obstacle and how did you overcome it?
Well, just myself, not being sure. I think a lot of it was seeing how other people were doing and thinking, oh, I can't do that, So it's kind of your own self-doubt bringing you down.
Was there somebody who helped you along the way as well?
Yeah, it was just a lot of people I would work with. For example, when I started camera assisting, I didn't really know much. I would get to set and I'd be like, hey, on student stuff, this is my first time. I'm really interested, and so I had a lot of people who helped me, show me how it works and give me tips and advice along the way, and those were the same people that ended up hiring me back or hired me on to, my first paid gigs, that ended up teaching me a lot.
Okay. So why production? What is it about production specifically that interests you?
Well, I love everything about the movie making process. I like production. I like production team because I like almost kind of like not that control, but just being able to look at everything, like the whole big picture, and say, okay, so what we need in this department and in that department, we need to do this to make the whole thing kind of happen.
When did you begin working in production, and what previous experience do you have? I know we've kind of gone over it, but
yeah, I started working in production my freshman year of college. I was production management on a couple student sets. From there, I PA'd on a couple commercial sets, and the producers liked me enough that once they figured out I was interested in production, they hired me back as a producer a little down the line, so that's kind of where I got my start.
Very nice. So what is your ideal job, and what path do you see yourself on to get there?
Ideally, I would want to be a network executive or a studio executive. My path to get there, I want to do the internship programs and kind of work my way up. Ideally, I want to do the NBC Page program, which I think would be really cool. And then, so from there, just keep learning more about the process and getting better educated about the companies I want to work for.
where do you see yourself in 5 years?
In 5 years, I see myself working up the corporate ladder, as they say. Definitely working, hopefully, for a network as a junior executive, and making my way up.